world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things.
See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know we just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes.
You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch and spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip.
Let's get it on now. Select to make your first pick. Let's get it on now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Let's get it on now. Choose and pick the best one. Let's get it on now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it on now. Select to make your first pick. Let's get it on now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Let's get it on now. Choose and pick the best one. Let's get it on now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it on now. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things.
See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know we just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes.
You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch and spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip.
Let's get it on now. Select to make your first pick. Let's get it on now.
Yo, what is up? Welcome, everybody to Gaming Academy. Class is now in session. I'm the headmaster of this crazy place, GQ Asian Dude, and tonight we're stepping into class 73. Whether you're joining us live on Twitch, YouTube, or catching the replay later, thank you for spending your part of your night with us here at the Academy. Now, tonight's class is a real one because we're opening up the headmaster's desk with a conversation that hits deeper than headlines, deeper than announcements, and deeper than the usual industry noise. Now, tonight we're talking about when the industry pushes talent out. That's, there's a lot going on with that, especially in the last 2 weeks. We've seen the layoffs, we've seen the restructuring, we've seen the cycle, and tonight we're digging into what that really means for the people who actually build the worlds we love. Now, after that, we're taking a trip through Memory Card Chronicles, as always, revisiting this week in gaming history and looking back at some of the titles, memories, and moments that helped shape the culture. Then we got Quick Bytes and the rumor mill, where Nick is bringing us the news, the whispers, the chaos, and all the stories floating around the industry right now. Oliver's also going to be stepping in with the watchdog to help you stretch those gaming dollars a little bit further. And by the time when we get to the end of the night, I'll be back with your final boss. And tonight's message is called Build Where You Are Valued. So if you've ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or like the room you're in doesn't really know what to do with what you bring to the table, tonight's class might be just for you. So get comfortable, lock in, open your mind, and charge your spirit. This is Gaming Academy, class 73, and class is now in session. All right, you guys know I don't do this alone. Let me bring in the faculty here to introduce themselves, these crazy people that I work with. So come on in, guys.
Hey, the characters select screen.
Oh, no, I gotta mix them up. There you go. Almost first.
Almost. Right? Yeah, we can do it. We can do it.
It's about who you select as your player. James chose himself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
As he does.
I don't know if I can switch that over. Let's see. I'm messing around with it right now.
I like how it says I'm defensive. I am fucking defensive.
There we go. Class hater.
So let's go. Just player 1 through 4.
There you go.
Take it away.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's me. I'm the red one, anyways. What's good, everybody? So, as y'all know, I am your professor of applied sciences here. For the folks that have been missing my segments, don't worry. I am trying to, make sure I work on them so that way the quality is still up to what is expected here at the Academy. But if you are looking for tips, tricks, and tidbits on how to navigate some of your favorite games or how to navigate some of my favorite games so that way y'all could join me, y'all know where to look.
Yep.
Guess it's my turn. Nick here, player 2 in the game, but player 1 in your hearts. I am here for the news, the gaming histories. I spent about 20 years in the video game industry in retail and also spent some time at Xbox in coordination with Xbox Research. I love talking about the industry and love talking about my past with it. So I'm looking forward to chatting even more with everyone in chat.
Awesome. Yep. I am your host, the headmaster here of the show here, and I've actually worked with Nick here for a few years at our local store. I don't know how long we've worked together. So that was quite some time.
Yeah, there was some crossover there. It moved so quickly. I can't even remember how many years.
I also did my tenure at GameStop, right? Been in the business for quite some time. It's like my background is usually sales and just business in general anyway, with even though I went to school for visual communications. So that's crazy. I also did a little bit of work for Monolith Studios, which doesn't exist anymore, right? From what I recall.
F's in chat.
Yeah, respect to that. And I do a little bit of play testing wherever I can go and apply. So I can't unveil that, but yeah, it's fun, it's interesting, and it's always good to get to conversations with the people that are hands on the game. So where your I guess your application to as a gamer matters. So here I am with these crazy guys.
Wow, and I guess that comes up to me. I guess we're being serious this time, so I guess I'm gonna put my throw my creds on the table. I'm Oliver. I'm the local watchdog. I've been involved with the game industry in a proper fashion, just like Nick, from retail to stretching out to other aspects of it, podcasting, working retail, doing game journalism in the late 2000s. To the early 2010s. I have had incredible experiences in that space and have actually gotten to talk to and work with developers. I've got a couple of infamous little incidents under my belt for the people that don't know. So first and foremost, if you recall from E3 some years ago when Deus Ex collaborated with Open Bionics to make a prosthetic arm based off of the ones used in Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. Yeah, that was me. I spearheaded that. I got those guys collaborating together to make that happen. Additionally, I've been noted as a gaming historian by Walter Day from Twin Galaxies, and if you go looking, I actually have a playing card of me. So that's really fun. And I've talked to plenty of big industry people and really gotten their honest takes on things that have happened. I've done interviews with Todd Howard, right, from Bethesda, to Larry Liberty from formerly Obsidian, right, and I've been all over and I've seen a lot, so I bring a whole lot of experience to the table with my dusty old age. Now I sit here and say stupid shit for the AI to go, that's funny, that's gonna get some clicks. And you know what? It's fine. That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. So as the fourth player, the last person added to the roster, the DLC, I have a responsibility to make sure that this is worth your time and your effort, because for all of us it is. Also, I would like to say one final thing. It's almost like completely coincidentally that Nick and I are trying to do a mirror match, and this shit is going to get messy. Why you wear my colors? I didn't give you permission for that. Fine, I'm just gonna match my fit.
You got to be careful, man, which colors you're flying. I just chose blue tonight, and that was my mistake.
Think of that. Why did I get the yellow or square?
I'm not going to say anything.
Hey, AI learns from the stuff that we put out on the internet. Just saying, man.
It just saw AZN and was like, okay, I got you.
I got you.
Why you matching my clothes?
Why you matching my clothes?
My favorite thing about our new beautiful character card that we have up there, though, is that I feel like ChatGPT noticed that I would keep saying back to you, Nick. So now he's actually broadcasting.
I still would have
Right.
loved if what it did is it put on the meme that James was working on last week, where it put the haters outfit on top of your outfit there.
That.
Yeah.
We needed that. That was too funny.
That'll be one of your alternative actual costumes.
I don't even know how that one works. I don't even, like, and you with you as Buck Nasty, I was like, is Charlie Murphy doing whiteface? I didn't know what to do. I was like, all I know is he's correct.
He's a dude playing a dude that thinks he's another dude.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
And I just had to throw myself as you.
On that note, great start for anyone new watching. We're not always like this.
No, and
We're
it
not
just,
always like this. Just
it just
80%.
goes to tell you, I've gathered all these guys from different points of video game, the video game experience, from the retail store, the consumer, the journalist, right, corporate. We're all parts of that. So, and I think it's important that we have different perspectives when we talk about the passion and the hobby that we love. So, this is why you guys are the chosen for the Gaming Academy. So glad all of you guys are here. So fantastic.
Chosen one.
All right. Now, before I get all chummy with everybody here, Jagos is relentless with his submissions to the Headmaster's desk. So let me pull that guy up and get ready for the next segment here, the Headmaster's desk. All right, guys. So this one is coming from yours truly, Jagos, in the Discord. And just keep in mind, the Headmaster's desk is where you can submit any of your, things that you want to talk about gaming related that you want to bring up on the show. If you want a bigger microphone, a megaphone for it, send it over to my desk. I'll take a read at it, and then we'll bring it out here for the other people to take a look at. So tonight, the Headmaster's desk is titled "When the Industry Pushes Talent Out." Because every time when we hear about another AAA layoff, it lands the same way. Now, another studio got cut, another got restructured. Another wave of developers being shown the door after giving years of their lives to projects that made these publishers money, prestige, and even relevance. And at this point, it doesn't feel like an exception anymore. It feels like a cycle. That's what really stands out to me here. Not just the layoffs themselves, but the pattern behind them. Because too many AAA publishers have lost sight of how games actually connect with people. They moved away from trusting developers to make something meaningful, and instead, they chase trends, market share, and whatever looks safest on a spreadsheet. Now, if one game blows up, everyone wants their version of it. Fortnite. If one model makes money, everybody suddenly wants to force that same model into places it doesn't belong. And when those decisions don't work out, when the strategy fails, when the projections fall short, the people who usually pay the price are not the executives who made those calls. It's the developers, the artists, the designers, even the writers. Now, the teams actually that build these games are the first on the cutting board, not the CEO. So the question becomes, where do they go after that? Because talent doesn't just disappear. That's where Jaga's points really hits. If you look at history, this has happened before when publishers become too rigid, too bloated, too obsessed with chasing money instead of vision. Talent starts to move. They shuffle around in the industry. Some people leave the industry entirely. Some find new homes elsewhere. But the most ambitious, the most creative, the ones who still believe in the work, they build something new. Now, Expedition 33 is a great example of that. And that's also one of the greatest ironies of this industry. Sometimes the very companies that fail their talent end up creating the conditions for the next great wave of innovation somewhere else. Now, you can see it in the examples Jagos brought up. Developers leave bigger systems because those systems no longer support the kind of projects they want to make. And once they're free of that structure, they start making games with identity again. Games with purpose. Games that feel like somebody actually believed in them. Gamers like us. And players can feel that. Players know when a game was made by a committee. Players know when a game is chasing a trend. Players know when something feels hollow, even if it is expensive, especially if it is expensive. But they also know when a game has conviction, when it has a real point of view, when the people making it actually care about what it is, not just what it could monetize into. Now, let me be clear, there's nothing romantic about layoffs. Losing your job is painful. I've lost mine a few times. It's destabilizing, it's unfair. Not every developer who gets cut loose lands on their feet in some exciting new studio. Some leave games completely, some burn out, some never get the runaway they deserve. But that human cost does matter, and we should never brush past it. But there is still a truth here worth acknowledging. The industry keeps scattering its own future every time it discards the people who helped build its present. That's the cycle. It's like humans building Skynet and Skynet going, I don't need you anymore. AAA gets bigger, leadership gets safer, publishers chase scale over substance. Developers lose creative freedom. Layoffs happen. Talent scatters. And somewhere in that fallout, new studios, new visions, and new ideas begin to take shape. And that should tell us something, the gamers. It should tell us that the talent was never the problem. The problem is the structure. The problem is the mindset. And problem is treating the game development like an assembly line because instead of a creative discipline. Now, because once a publisher stops valuing the people making the games, it starts hollowing itself out from the inside. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in a way the way investors notice right away, but eventually you feel it in the games. You feel it in the culture. You feel it in the audience response. And then one day everybody just wonders why the most exciting stuff isn't coming from the biggest companies anymore, like Konami, right? Well, this is why. Because when the creators stop being trusted, they don't stop creating, they just create somewhere else. And maybe that's the real lesson here for tonight. Not that layoffs are good, not that collapse is somehow necessary, but that creativity survives even when bad leadership tries to squeeze it dry. So, yes, the headlines may be about cuts, closures, and instability, but the longer story might be migration. Developers moving away from the system that no longer serves them. We talked about this last time as well, right? Who has the power? Who controls that? And what could happen in the future? Studios forming around stronger creative identities, teams deciding they'd rather build something smaller with soul than stay inside something bigger that's lost its way. And if AAA publishers keep forgetting who actually gives this medium life, then the great games, the great studios, and the great ideas may be coming from the very people they pushed out. And that's not just a business story, that's a warning. And that's also a lesson because the industry may keep repeating the same mistakes. But the developers keep reminding us that the heartbeat of gaming has never belonged into the boardroom. It belongs to the people who build the worlds. And that is incredibly a great submission from Jagos. And that is what's on my desk. So thanks for that, Jagos. Now I want to come back here to these guys and just going to see what everyone's 2 cents is on that. 'Cause that was a pretty good one.
It was a really good one.
Yeah, Jagos, you are right. I'm not going to chime in because I talk about this a lot in the news.
True.
I'll let the other guys talk about this one because I'm usually at the forefront when we talk about this. And if you're in chat with us right now, you can see I've been chatting it up with a couple people. There's a lot of things going on in the industry right now, but let me hand it over to these two.
Right. It's literally the first law of thermodynamics. Energy isn't created or destroyed. It doesn't disappear. It transfers. It moves around, and the same can be said with the vast majority of the talent, especially that we're seeing start breaking through and making those really big hits that we've been seeing recently. It's like Andre said earlier, we wouldn't have Expedition 33 or Dispatch without Ubisoft creating the conditions for those teams to get out there and do their thing.
I just like to take the time to point out that we very much look like the fucking Brady Bunch right now, and I'm kind of here for it. I don't know why, just the way it's set up. I'm just like, here's a story about a man named GQ. And I could just see it. And for whatever reason, Ace would be Alice. Right? Got to put up with all our shit. No, it's fucking beautiful. Regarding the subject at hand, though, I'm just gonna quote my wife, because she is weird. She's like a weird game oracle, except she's completely disconnected from the industry. She does not like get involved. She does not particularly care about that, but she always has keen observations. She called Arkham Asylum being an absolute banger like 6 months before it came out. She's like, that's gonna be the one that's gonna go. I was like, man, don't nobody want to play none of that shit. Played it. I was like, oh, she is so correct on this. So here's what she said. MBAs, when they entered the game industry, fucked everything up. I was like, she's like, they don't care. They don't care about the people that make the business. They just look at numbers. They're always chasing numbers, not realizing that the very people that they're cutting are the people that got you those goddamn good numbers in the first place, right? And until the industry figures out that the industry only works when the creatives are the ones who are making the decisions in the first place. As you said, we keep playing good games, right? But it's coming from double A's, right? And single A's and indies. And they're doing wildly creative, incredibly imaginative shit right now. I'm like, oh, I ain't seen that before. And every time I look at them, I'm going, there's no chance in hell that you would see that come out of AAA. It's just not going to happen, because video games have become too corporate, and I can trace that back to an exact moment in time, right? There's always a nexus point. There's a moment in history where bad things start happening. And just to again, it's just an analogy. It's a simple example. It's like, we know what the catalyst for World War One was, right? Tensions were already heated, but the assassination of Franz Ferdinand is what jumped that off. I can tell you the exact moment where games stopped being the way that we know them and remember them, as old fucking idiots. And it was the release of Halo 2. Because it absolutely dominated the movie releases of that week, right? The cinema didn't know what the hell was going on. They didn't understand. They got completely trounced by what was long considered a child's toy. But come on, I mean, Nick, were you working? Were you working the Halo 2 release? Was anybody else working that? Because I worked that. And that was insane. It was bonkers. People down the block. People just just all the way down the block waiting to get their copy. I was working the midnight release of Halo 2. I swear to God, I watched 400 to 500 copies walk out of my damn store, right? And when movie theaters got rolled by Halo 2, and then everyone saw how big a video game could be, they've all been chasing it since then. Halo 2, World of Warcraft, those games said, oh, this isn't a game. There's big bread to be made here. And I think that was when everything started going to hell. It's just been a slow crawl from that moment forward. You know what I mean?
I could say personally, I agree with what you're saying. There's certain points in gaming history, especially, you could say, like, this is where we went wrong. The current retrospective that I'm working on is Sierra Entertainment. And honestly, I want to say the .com bubble is probably the biggest reason why we are the way we are. Because when all of these multimedia corporate things came in and bought gaming companies or publishers or little dev teams because they saw it being able to make money, and then not putting out games, just owning the IP or putting out shovelware, all this stuff, when it became that corporatized business, when it was about making those choices instead of making the games. It wasn't about, being in a garage with your friends, making this passion project kind of thing. It became like, let's build and build and build. And now we can sell to, AOL. And then the funding that goes into that. And then when those fell down, and that's when it became a multimedia kind of thing. That's what happened with Halo. And then do we need to talk about the Xbox One launch? Like, everything that went wrong with that. So that's where I see that path. It's always been these small steps of just like, you were kind of losing our way a little bit here. When was the point of no return?
Yep.
And I guess I'll add something from like a boardroom perspective. Like I've sat in a meeting where I was with the accountant of this meeting, right? Like an undisclosed company. And the gentleman that we're talking about profits versus saving money, the accountant was there to say where we can save money, where we can trim, where we can, basically save costs, right? Because that's what they're doing. That's what they're hired for. I don't know who they were, but I'm sure they were investors of some sort on the board. They said, well, we understand we could save $500,000, but how do we make $2 more million? That's that. I just want to share with you guys the mentality that is on the board when they think about make decisions like they're not about there to save money, even though they will make money by saving it. They care about from here to here, how do we make this much money, regardless of what's the path, right? So they're willing to raise everything in front of them just to hit that goal for that quarter. So
there's another thing that my wife had just said on that. She just said this yesterday, because she worked very, very big corporate finance for well over a decade, and she could tell you just straight up, like, she's like, here's what happens. They go, we need to make more money, we need to increase revenue, and the first thing they go is, oh, here's how you can save money, fire people. Boom. Yeah. Just like that. Boom. It's that simple. That's the mentality. That's how they think about it, forgetting that it's those very people you fired that it's holding the whole fort together in the first place. And they will do so dispassionately. And that turns into some evil shit, right? So maybe this is what needs to happen. Maybe the industry needs to fall. It's just like, it's kind of stupid. It's kind of like the original Rocky movie, right? Apollo Creed stopped training so hard because he was the best, right? He didn't have anything to reach for. He had already gotten there. And then here comes this scrappy up-and-comer who no one will give a chance to, and he's got something to prove, right? So he's willing to do whatever it takes. We all know that Rocky lost the original movie, right? He lost that fight.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
Damn, over 50 years?
Hey, man. I am constantly surprised at what movies my wife hasn't seen growing up.
I was going to watch it tomorrow, damn it.
But he lost that match by decision, but the fact that he made the greatest boxer in the world, he brought his ass to his knees, right? That's what made Rocky a winner. And that's what we're watching happen in the industry right now. These small little teams that we would have all laughed at in the early 2000s, these guys are out here throwing heavy fucking punches and going, you guys have all the money, all the budget, and you couldn't release this thing that they did for a fraction of the cost. What was Nick probably knows.
Coming back to take on Krauser.
Right. It's right. Exactly. What was the game that just came out where the homie was like, he worked on it for years, and then the first week or two he made $250,000?
Was that Mugenics?
Yeah.
No,
was it? Mugenics
a different one. But that was another case.
It was another case of it. Yeah.
He made like $250,000 in the first week, and he like cried. Basically.
Yeah, he was crying. Yeah, and it was like, that's what happens. So I think that the best thing that we can do is try to support AAA who's doing right? Who holds onto their talent and secures their talent no matter what. That's a great first step, right? Vote with your wallet. You're going, hey, these guys are doing good, not just making good games, but they're treating their people good too. We're not hearing about burnout and all kinds of crazy shit. And step 2, pay attention to the indies. Go look at something you haven't seen before. Take a gamble on a $2 game. You'll fuck around and find Vampire Survivors. The next thing you know, you done lost your entire existence.
One thing I will say on that, because you bring up a good point, is just to be aware of the fact that we've said it before. Gamers are their own worst enemies. The amount of microtransaction sales are why the industry is in the way it is. It's trends based on data of what's happening. The gaming industry, or at least the fandom as a whole, needs to change itself. We need to change our habits if we want to see change. It's fine to vote with our wallets, but if the other, what was it again? It was like 52% of all sales on PC were microtransactions last year. Like, it's just, that's not going to change any corporate person's mind or any financial person's mind when that much money is flowing through that specific way.
Because if they go, why would we stop?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. Yeah, that's
why are so many live service games being greenlit? Why is another game that's been in development for years called Fair Game is now going to be another extraction shooter? Because that's what's hot right now. That's what's making money right now. As much as we don't want that, that's the way it is. So habits have to change in more ways than one. It's always kind of been that way. We just need to, as always, I advocate for getting out of your echo chamber, listen to different kind of viewpoints. That's one of the reasons I wanted to be on this podcast and why we encourage people in chat to speak us, let us know, speak up. The memories that you have, the opinions that you have, we really need to understand there's a big market out there, and you're not going to hear that unless someone speaks up.
Yeah, I think, Nick, the day that you told me that why StarCraft 3 will never get greenlit because of the stupid skin, or was it a horse or mount from World of Warcraft?
Yeah,
right? It made more money than the game. I was like, we're doomed.
One special skin for World of Warcraft mount, which didn't add anything to the game. It was a cosmetic. Sold more and earned more money for Blizzard than all of StarCraft 2 did.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, "Is SMH?" And I was like, "Oh my god,
feels bad, man."
Yeah. All right, we're gonna shift it a little bit to something more feels good versus feels bad.
Well, we hope anyway.
At least I hope so. Well, we're starting off with a banger here that I think is a cult hit. So, this segment is called "This Week in Gaming History." This is the portion of the show where we cover week to week, April 19th to April 25. On games that came out this week and how and what they mean to us. So check it out. That's a nostalgic noise, isn't it? All right, so the first game for the week, Nick is starting us off on the 19th of April with Psychonauts. Let me pull that up here. Boom. Let's go.
The big boy.
Yeah, not messing around.
Definitely not messing around. I wanted to kick off this week with something a little more creative and unique, especially after all the talk we've had about AAA. In 2005, just to set the stage for you, because that's when this game released, I was couch surfing. I was in between jobs. I had just dropped out of college. And the friends I was actually staying with got me into two things that summer. The first one being World of Warcraft, and that's when I finally dived in. And the second one being Psychonauts, because that was just the game they happened to have that they had just bought while I was staying with them. So what made Psychonauts stand out even to this day to me, like looking back on it, is how creative the entire game was. I mean, it does have a cult status and really cemented Tim Schafer's Double Fine studio in the minds of a lot of gamers around my age. I mean, especially old heads. Oliver could probably call it a few as well, like Full Throttle and Grim Fandango were a couple games that I had played before. But then this one came along, and I really can't stress enough how well, back in the day when this released, the platforming, the graphical style, the story, the world building, and even the music, like, really made this stand out in an era where the industry was really expanding and starting to blow up into those AAA features that we know. And honestly, for the best of my memory, adventure games were kind of out of vogue for what felt like at least 10 years. Like, I'm talking the old LucasArts adventure games were what I was playing when I was much younger, like mid-90s. And you didn't really see a lot of adventure games since then. Or at least that really kind of stood out. So, it's weird. It's weird, but in a good way. It really does handle a bunch of like really heavy topics like mental illness and worldview without being like too heavy-handed with it. So, I mean, like, as a standalone experience and for fans of things like the classic games that I mentioned, it felt like a love letter to those games that we used to play, but from this like creative mind and team behind it. For something that just felt different at the time. Because you think, 2005, Oliver, what kind of games were you playing in 2005? I don't know if it was Psychonauts.
Sure the fuck wasn't Psychonauts. You know why? Because Tim Schafer is a hack. I said it. Guess what? We're back to hating. Surprise! The hater's back. Nope, I fucking hate Tim Schafer with the passion of 1,000 suns. That man is so ungodly disrespectful that I will never in my life touch a single project that Tim Schafer himself works on. The way I have seen him behave towards people who are not the same ethnicity as him is abhorrent. And I can never say a goddamn good thing about Tim Schafer. I don't give a fuck how creative he is. I was just horrified at the things that I saw that man do well over a decade ago. And the only good contribution that that man has actually given to the game industry. I remember what happened with Brutal Legend. I remember all that other stuff. And he wrote a lot of damn goodwill, right? Thinking that, what was the homie's name? Was it Bobby Kotick? Right? Had everyone thinking Bobby Kotick was an asshole, right? I'm not saying Bobby Kotick isn't an asshole. I'm saying I've seen some weird abuses of power come out of this guy, right? And the only good thing he contributed to the game industry was the idea of crowdfunding and going straight to the people who are going to play it. Other than that, I don't have a damn good thing to say about Tim Schafer. Anything that good that Tim Schafer worked on only came from someone else, right? Tim Schafer didn't make Maniac Mansion. He worked on it, right? And I thank you for your service. But I want to get it straight from the real OGs. No, I have nothing good to say. That's it. That's the most hateful thing I'm ever going to say on this show. I'm going to get in trouble.
Well, I'm so glad that I picked that game and was talking about listening to other people's point of views right when Oliver started to speak. So that's what I chose for this day in gaming history. I guess we can move on for that. Hopefully that's what doesn't get clipped. But sucks to hear that nonetheless.
Oh, he did. He said horrifying stuff to me. It was really bad.
Yeah, and I'm by the way, not saying like dissuading that at all. I agree. That's absolutely your experience. You should share that. That should be known.
Yes.
Let the people know.
I'm sorry that I chose that game.
but I do have a funny joke. It's a very popular game. It is a very popular game. Psychonauts is a very popular game. See, this is an important thing that I wanted to show people. I have my opinions about Tim Schafer. That's subjective reality. And then there's objective reality. And I was working in the store when Psychonauts came out. And it is an immensely popular game that resonates with a ton of people and is absolutely one of the defining titles to come out for Xbox. And watching people sit and wait so patiently for a very, very long time for Psychonauts 2, right? And then actually getting that delivered to them. That's one of those things where it's like Half-Life. I don't care about Half-Life, just like I don't care about Portal. But I was really happy for those people to get that thing that they've waited on for so long. Because an entire game built around psychology, right? And fixing the things inside of you that are maybe not necessarily broken, but aren't working to their best optimal condition, right? I think that's a great thing. If that's a thing that resonates with people and helps them, more power to you. But I ain't participating in that nonsense. That's it. But no, you can recognize when something's doing great. It's just like Halo. It's like first-person shooters, right? I don't care for them, but I can recognize Halo 2 blew out cinema that weekend, right? It's like, well, a lot of people like Halo 2. It works for them, right? For whatever reason. And that's all. That's really the point that I make when I said all that was I wanted to make sure that everyone sees that you can have these two ideas in your head and they're not necessarily in conflict with one another. You should ask me about H.P. Lovecraft sometime.
I'm sure they'll come up. I'll make sure to try to find like the sinking ship on that day it released in gaming history so we can circle back.
H.P. Lovecraft game? Sinking ship? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, that's right. Now, speaking of game, what the hell is this, Ace? This came out on 420. I get it. All right,
come on. Now, for my Memory Card Chronicle for 420, this isn't so much a Memory Card Chronicle, so much as a Memory Card call-out. Because yesterday, yes, quite literally with the subtlety of marijuana smoke filtering under someone's door, Jay and Silent Bob Chronic Blunt Punch was dropped on the gaming landscape, and I'll be quite frank with you. From what I've seen of it, the game looks like a lot of fun. And of course, you know, as I am an aficionado and student of all things related to the brawl, you know, I had to at the very least give this a look and, you know, just call it out and also show my respect to a game that right out the starting gate knows what it is and is not embarrassed about what it is. Because let's face it, there's a lot. there are a lot of points where, people, would either talk about a game or where certain developers would actually release a game and then they half-ass it. They play it safe because for some reason, well, let me rephrase that. They're forced to play it safe in a lot of cases by, a lot of the decision makers higher up because someone higher up the chain is embarrassed of where they come from. So you see games like Dead is Disco. You see games like Expedition 33. You see games like the earlier Yakuza titles. And you see games like this right here that is on your screen. You look at it and go, yeah, Jay and Silent Bob hooked up with a development team and decided they wanted to make a beat 'em up and just put it out there. It's easy to see what it is. It's easy to see what's on the tin. And thus, as consumers, as customers, we can make that informed decision because this game looks like it doesn't take itself seriously and it looks like an absolute riot. So you know what? When I got the spare cash, I might pick it up.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Do you know if Clay was the one that did the art on this?
I was actually looking up the I was actually taking a look at the main website earlier.
It reminded me of Shank. You guys remember Shank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, God, that was a while ago.
Yeah, so it just the art is very similar, but I can just be like, crossing over a bunch of artists. But no, it looks cool, and I agree with you with with it's like when you watch a hokey movie that you love, but then like people like it's trash because it's never going to win an Oscar. Like we know it's never going to win an Oscar, but it's just a fun movie, like
right.
That's how I feel about this game.
We're not coming into this expecting War and Peace. We're not coming into this expecting Streets of Rage 4. We're just coming into this looking for a hilarious beat 'em up that, again, leans into its references and doesn't take itself seriously.
Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me of my favorite quote from the movie Bowfinger with Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy. He said, "I'm trying to make a movie here, not a film." Right. and that's actually a really important distinction, right? Yeah. I'm not trying to make Oscar bait. I'm trying to make just some goofy ass entertainment. Right. And I'm just looking at the footage because I was looking at this game earlier myself. And the mere fact that they have the demonic imp boys from Dogma in here, right? That alone just blows my mind. Like, the View Askew-niverse has been around for so long that I'm not sure if this game is actually going to sell because it's only going to make sense to all of us old people. Right? Like, I like if you're going to try and sell to some 20-year-olds, this is old people stuff as far as they're concerned. I don't think I care. Like, I'm just glad to see it. And it's like, yeah, why didn't you guys make a brawler like years ago?
I also know that, if I remember right, there was a Jay and Silent Bob movie that came out relatively recently, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reboot. That's literally what it is, Jay and Silent Bob reboot, right? But it's so funny because they're always beating someone's ass. Like, no matter what movie Jay and Silent Bob show up in, someone's catching an ass whooping, right? So it's like, yeah, this is a perfect genre fit. Like, and it's really funny that they stayed true to the characters, even though Kevin Smith, he had that heart attack and that really got his attention and he lost all the weight and all this other stuff. It's like, no, Jay and Silent Bob still are these separated characters from Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, and I like what I'm seeing. The animations are fun here. They're like, I think during the trailer you even see Brody Bruce in there, and like everybody just kind of shows up. And the number one thing that impresses me about the video on screen right now, the fact that you don't have to be 100% on the same plane to register a hit. I feel like it's going to be a competent brawler.
These games back there, oh my god, these games back there are funny.
Ass Effect. Wait a minute, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Left 4 Dead, Fat Man, and Ass Effect. You know what? This is 10 out of 10.
3690X. That's great. All right, that's beautiful, guys. Beautiful.
Sam Hung. Oh, that's a penis. Oh no!
Oh, I know what Ace picked this. Got it.
Cue the meme. That's a penis.
Well, listen. Yes, just weird bit of trivia, but yesterday on 420, the high out here in Bellingham, at least at the time that I checked the temperature, at the time that I checked what the weather was going to be for the day, the high out here in Bellingham was 69 degrees.
Now I know how you got motivated.
Oh my god!
Now I'm motivated.
And there you have it.
That was it right there.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening around town. There's a pretty good culture for it. My brewery made we doused a couple of our beers and we made a dank hop water. We made a dank hazy IPA in coordination with Chiba Hut up here in town.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Sandwiches are fucking killer too. But
Oh,
that's beside the point.
Yeah. Well, speaking of killer, you're gonna die for this next game. This one's Oliver's pick on the 17th.
Boo this man.
There you go.
There you go.
21st.
Thank God.
Dead
No,
Island
I
2.
need it. I see. We got to counterbalance, right? All things in balance as they should be. So I'm gonna talk about Dead Island, and then Nick is gonna rip it to fucking shreds, and I hope he does, because oh man, there are things worthy of ripping to shreds with Dead Island 2. Obviously, it's the follow up to the original Dead Island, and everyone at this point knows that Dead Island had easily one of the most well-known game trailers of its time. Right? It was very slow, very quiet, very methodical. You're seeing it play in reverse, just the horror that is happening. And then they got to the gameplay and people got really, really, really salty. One of the things that I loved about the original Dead Island was the focus on targeting limbs and actually being able to cripple zombies. And, you know, it didn't carry that same tone. Dead Island 2 or original Dead Island was made by Techland, who, as we all know now, really keeps steward on and focus on Dying Light. That's basically their true follow-up to Dead Island. But this game, Dead Island 2, sat in development hell for quite some time. It did have an amazing, amazing trailer. But God, when did that original trailer drop? With the song was with Pigeon John,
the bomb.
Yeah. And that was an amazing trailer. And then the game just kind of went radio silent for a very long time.
E3 2014.
2014, and it took this long for it to come out. It came out in 23. It's like, so y'all missed the mark about 9 fucking years or so, huh?
Oh,
But when they finally deliver, it's a pretty good game. It's a pretty good game for what you get. Maybe not necessarily full price. It will keep your attention. I think that if you're a fan of zombies and doing goofy shit and throwing car batteries at people, you're probably going to have a good time. But the development on this, I think this kind of goes back to some of the stuff that we were talking about. It was fucking messy. It was ugly. Right, and I'm glad that something came out of it. We don't have a Duke Nukem situation on our hands, but I definitely damn near did. But I know that this is a game not to everyone else's taste. Back to you, Nick.
I actually don't have too much to hate on.
Son of a bitch.
With this one, because honestly, the internet spoke up about this one a while ago. So the biggest thing for me when I'm looking at this was that trailer was a banger. It still is. It's still probably one of my favorite trailers that came out, especially around that era. It still stands out in my mind. Like you said, you're able to recall the music, the tone behind it, just the goofy nature of it. The fact that it's still in our minds, 12 years after its reveal is it speaks well to the marketing team. I remember playing this at PAX a couple years after that, like one of the early builds of the original idea that they had for Dead Island 2. So to see it like out in the wild finally was like, oh my God, I completely forgot about this. But the game was not great. It was fine. Everyone kind of spoke about this one about, super repetitive. It could, like you said, man, it couldn't settle on a tone. The game design, the music, the characters, the writing, everything just felt like it was schizophrenic. It could not decide what it wanted to be. It didn't have direction. And that speaks to what we've talked about plenty of times before, and plenty of other content creators have talked about. When you see a project that's long-winded or changes leadership or anything like that, you can tell the game suffers for it. And this is a prime example of that. They didn't maybe go back to I imagine they didn't go completely back to the drawing board. They took bits and pieces and tried to get it across the finish line. And it feels like that.
And if you guys look on YouTube and you look at some various pre-release footage, like even what was just shown there, which is final release, it's a very different looking thing. I think Dead Island 2 suffers of a particular curse that I think is the worst curse that can happen to a video game in the industry. Everyone wants to have the great big, blockbuster selling game, and nobody wants to have the bad game, right? But we can identify a bad game. But the worst thing that can happen to you is being okay, right? To just be...
You don't want to be an IGN 6 out of 10, do you?
Right, you don't want that smoke. You'd rather be the one, because you could go like, maybe this motherfucker's crazy, right? You're like, maybe someone's just going off the deep end. You don't want to be the guy that's just sitting in the middle. No one remembers you, right? And Dead Island 2 can run afoul of that problem quite easily.
Put Blue's comment up on the screen. Yeah, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Another one. Woof.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
My only take on this game was that, like, I think it was announced when it was like peak to ending of the zombie trend, and so I always felt like, because I think we were still working at Reset when this was announced, and Taylor
2014.
Yeah. Like I was thinking like this game's gonna come out when the zombie trend is over, and that's why maybe they were like, maybe should we stop making this game because it's not too late.
And to be honest, like looking back on that trend as well, it wasn't so much that we outgrew it or that it was dying. It's just that the good iterations of the games were being done. Like it just kept being recycled so much that the games that we got just weren't inspired. Because you had heavy hitters with like Dead Island, like the first one when it came out. I'm talking like Left 4 Dead 2, especially. Like a lot of games kind of since then were trying to capture that same thing. The first thing I think of is Back 4 Blood. Like, maybe not bad. It's not the zombie trend that was the issue. It was how the game was put together, or the content, or the repetition, or the maps, or the design, right?
Yeah.
So this suffers from the, like, it was just not well put together, whether it were zombies or not. And let's be honest, if you think back to the original Dead Island, and even you called it out Riptide, the tone of it was so wildly different from what we got with Dead Island 2, which felt like it was trying to be funny. Like too much, like it leaned way too far into the humor to the point that it just didn't make sense for the game anymore. That's what I got.
Nice. Okay, right on. All right, for 422, which is my pick here, I chose the Sega version of this box art because it doesn't get enough love. Double Dragon had released in the arcade in 1987. I was 6 years old when this game came out. But yes, this was, of course, I think we also but honored the grandfather of Double Dragon in a few episodes ago. So this was, conveniently my choice as well. But I wanted to share a story once we get the footage up here on the screen. So when I was a kid, this was arguably the first beat 'em up I've ever touched at an arcade. The first quarter I ever put in an arcade machine for a beat 'em up. That's pretty memorable. And I'm not going to talk about the one because one was hard to find in Chicago for some reason, but Double Dragon 2 was everywhere. Maybe it was just the timing, but my story behind this was that we had a Double Dragon arcade machine at the laundromat that my mom and I would go to on Sundays to do laundry because we didn't have a laundry unit in our apartment. Back then in the 80s, so we would like wheel over the laundry over like 3 blocks away, and then they would have a Double Dragon 2 machine there along with Twin Cobra. If you guys know what Twin Cobra is, props, shout out to you guys.
I don't. What is that?
It's a shmup, and it was fantastic. So every time in between washing and drying, I would definitely my mom would give me $2, and then get a quarter machine, pop my 50 cents in the machine, and see how far I can get with like $2, right? And the farthest I got was actually probably stage 3 on on multiple returns to the arcade, like weeks, right? Until little James, little GQ discovered the elbow move on Double Dragon 2, and that move is busted. That got me through the end of the game, basically. But yeah, this was my memory card chronicle just because it reminds me of my mom, hanging out with my mom. 80s pure action, just like a little bit of 80s film in here, a little bit of Mad Max, a little bit of martial arts. So, and of course, like just memories over time, and having arcades in multiple places in different areas of society. So I don't know. What about you guys?
Can we take the time to point out that big ass fucking cat that was on that trash can? The cat was huge. What the hell were they feeding that thing?
Oh, it's a Maine Coon. Gotta be a Maine Coon.
Yeah.
You know, as I look at this particular version, I'm actually shocked. Well, for one, I can tell that someone's got some nice emulation smoothing running on it.
Yeah.
But it's actually incredible how accurate the NES version is to the arcade version, which I did play the arcade version. So I'm still just looking at this and seeing how many animations that they could keep while deeply reworking their pixels, right? It's actually kind of amazing, right? And for me, Double Dragon will always. Oh, I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry like a bitch. Oh no. Okay. No, I will always think about Double Dragon, and I know I'm Jimmy to my brother's Billy, right? Like, this is just how we did it. We would go in there and we would beat ass nonstop. Like, this is the game. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, I think all video game roads lead in two directions. Either the road comes back to Centipede or it goes back to Double Dragon. You either shooting something's evading, right? It's either Space Invaders or you're dealing with fucking mushrooms or some shit, or you're going left to right beating someone's ass. Even if you look at Super Mario Brothers, you jump on Goombas, it's just a very fast ass whooping, right? You give them the old Acme squash treatment, but no, this is really, really it. The magic lies right here in the art of the brawl. You versus a horde of enemies and continuing to prevail and march forward. Now, it just warms my stupid little heart, even if the emulation is bad, because God, that barrel took forever to fall just now.
Yeah,
Like,
I think this was the limitation of how many people could be on the screen during the era.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's like, oh no.
Frame
Just
drops. Frame
watch
drops.
H, you got something?
Watch out.
But much like what Oliver had mentioned, again, with me and my brother Stefan, it was pretty much the same. Of course, I was the Billy to his Jimmy. But yeah, like no matter how far in life we go, no matter what we wind up doing, no matter what we wind up playing, all roads tend to lead back to Double Dragon. I mean, and then, of course, picking up on your point about, just being able to go and play this or play Double Dragon 2 in between washes at the laundromat. It's another reminder of just the type of integral social experience that arcades, no matter what size, no matter how many cabinets, were actually able to provide back in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I just wanted to share that because, like, that connects me to my mom, a core memory, and this is why I brought it to Memory Card Chronicles. So, and if you guys have anything like that you'd like to share in chat or in our Discord, please feel free to do so, because that's what the show is all about and this segment's all about.
Yeah, or you could be like me, and I didn't really play Double Dragon back in the day. I just knew about Bimmy and Jimmy, and that was about it. Like,
Bimmy and Jammy.
For me, it was Streets of Rage because I had the Genesis, so that was my entry.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. That ain't no problem.
Yeah, especially for the soundtrack.
Which is funny
that
because
was my brother.
I had the Sega box art on there.
I have a question, very, very quick though. Since everyone was talking about brawling in the laundromat, there's a game that's been eluding me mentally for a while now. That it was a kind of tag team, almost brawling game, but it wasn't Street Fighter and it wasn't Final Fight, right? And it would be 2-on-2. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Is it a fighting game or is it a beat 'em up?
It's a beat 'em up.
Okay, and it's 2-on-2.
Yeah, it was something like that, right? And you were fighting on the street.
Oh, Street Smart.
Maybe.
Look it up. It may not be. Maybe Street Smart 2, but Street Smart was like that.
Because I've been trying to figure that one out forever and a day.
Oh, that's going to be nagging at me for the rest of the night.
All right, put it up there. But Nick, yours is the 23rd for Chivalry 2. I've always wanted to play this. Tell us more.
You should play it. So this is one of those games, like, I just kind of shake my head at, kind of gesture at it with, like, it's just fun, dude. Like, it just is. Personally, my personal experience was playing this on PC. This day in gaming history was the PS5 release in 2021. But I did want to highlight it. So I'm going to get this out of the way first, just because I know the haterade will flow eventually from one of us. This game could absolutely be better. It's a little clunky. There's definitely a lot of bugs, connection issues, hit registers that make you want to throw something. And you could say, maybe it needs some more game modes, maybe. But it is such a manic, fun experience that doesn't have a lot of competition in the market. And honestly, it just kind of scratches an itch that you didn't know you really needed. I laughed so hard watching people play this that I had to download it myself. There's I'll put a video, a link up in chat to Zanny, content creator. I saw his Chivalry 2 video and I was like, I have to buy this game. It is just so funny. As a medieval multiplayer first-person hack and slash, you can literally kill people with farm animals, cabbages. You can headbutt dudes when your limbs are chopped off. When they're just straight up missing.
Sign me up.
Yeah, like, can you launch yourself from a trebuchet? Sure, no problem. You can be sweaty as hell in this game, or you could just roll in for the laughs. It absolutely had both sides of the spectrum on it, and that's what made it even more fun when you had someone who was trying very hard or was very good, and just like the humor that would roll from it. I loved it as well because there was multiple matches that I had where people were role playing, like the actual like medieval characters, like on voice chat. And it just, the vibes are immaculate, my friend. More often than not, you'll find fans saying, as one Redditor wrote, quote, one of my favorite games of all time, but fuck this game. It really is one of those ones, like, you get pulled into it so much that you just get pissed when it doesn't work out. But at the same time, you're trying not to take it seriously, and it can't take itself seriously. It's still one of those games that, obviously it's been out for a while now. The devs aren't really supporting it. They've moved on to their next title that they're working on. I forget what it is. So there's plenty of people in the community that are still playing it, but will warn, like, hey, this is buggy as hell. Don't expect a seamless experience, but you will have so much fun playing it. And honestly, this is one of those games, like, it's pretty regularly on sale. I know that Epic had it as a free game for a while there on the Epic Game Store. We should absolutely do a night where we play this as a community, because it is fucking hilarious. I'm going to toss that video up in chat.
There you go. I put it on the screen. EO Study Hall, anyone? All right.
Do you guys end up playing this or something similar? Maybe played the first Chivalry?
I never played it, but you really kind of sold it when you said I could kill a man with a cabbage.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, your greens, bitch.
That's one of the reasons I like the Zanny video, because what he does is he ends up picking up a pig and throwing it, and you can pick up a chicken and throw it at people and kill people with it. Like, it really is, like, sure, as you can imagine, grab any weapon that's around you. What do you got?
This is what war was like back then. You just get whatever, kill them.
Anything you can get your hands on.
I mean, it do be like that. Yeah,
It do be like that.
But I'm
it
sorry,
do be like that.
being able to headbutt people when your arms. Look, being able to headbutt someone at all has got my attention.
Last time I heard about getting someone headbutting somebody with no fucking arms, Time Killers was in the arcades.
Oh my God.
Right? So
Don't remind me. That was in our roller skating rink next to Killer Instinct, and when Killer Instinct came out, everyone stopped playing Time Killers.
Mm-hmm.
So All right.
They thought they were going to take out Mortal Kombat. You did not.
On the 24th, Ace, you're back on your madness again. What is this thing that I see on the screen?
Now, this one, look, if you are looking for Muscles, Mechs, and Muso all in one game, if you are looking for the trifecta of what makes Ace tick, look no further than Megaton Musashi. Like this game first released back in 2021, and it was Japan only, which had me feeling kind of morose because I'm looking at this and it's like it's taking everything that Gundam Breaker has done, and instead of Gundam, it's going more the old school kind of giant robo. It's going the Go Nagai route, not just with the character designs, but with the mech designs as well. I mean, over the course of the game, you actually wind up unlocking missions where you can unlock the Mazin Kaiser. So for folks that are like super into the old, giant robo, Tetsujin Twin 3, Mazin Kaiser, this is the one to take a look at. But what really got me, when I saw that Megaton Musashi Wired, which is basically the complete edition, was releasing in the States, firstly, I had to jump on it. I strapped on my Mario boots and I'm like, let's go. But then you actually get into it and you start playing through the story. And on the surface, like at the start of the game, it's okay. Might be, your typical high school shonen anime fare. And then shit turns real fast. Like you're stepping out of the Matrix and it's a post-apocalypse. Real freaking fast. And then just the pacing of the story as it escalates, it's a trip. It's like playing an anime and you get to, jump into the giant robots and just start wrecking shit. It's a fun time. Hell, I might actually jump back on and stream it from scratch again.
Nice. I didn't even know this game existed. So if there's anybody else have any input on this?
I didn't either, but I'm hearing a lot of claims that it has a classic Phantasy Star Online feel, which is intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Are you waiting until the crossover with the Sydney Sweeney Gundam DLC?
Oh God!
There we go. Now I can't play it.
I can't have a moment of happiness.
Right, he can't let me be happy. Like no. It's like, but I bought and paid for it. Right, I did this to me. Did nobody do this to me? I did this to myself. Yes, I'm made to suffer.
But yeah, no, real talk. It's the three building blocks for me. But it also does very much have a classic PSO vibe. That would explain that. Thanks.
I just saw
that's crazy.
A mech on a surfboard.
Yes, you did.
I don't even know what to think anymore.
Look, one of the mech designs in this is literally, it's Arthur, but it's a centaur knight.
Okay. All right, we're done.
Kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever play games like that, Ace on stream, you should come ready with links, bro. That way you can show them that. So, now, weird that you chose this, Oliver, for the last day of this week, because I was doing research, and when I mean research, I had 2 tabs open. That was it. The difference between Walking Dead, like definitive edition versus season 4, because it had all of the episodes.
Yes,
but did the studio switch publishers, went from Telltale to Skybound or something?
Yes, everything got very, very, very weird. Just in brief, basically, and I know Nick can detail this a lot better than me. But long story short, Telltale Games went belly the fuck up, and it got very messy for a lot of different IP. It's like things like why the Wolf Among Us ended on a real heavy cliffhanger, and they're still, that one's in development hell. It's supposed to be coming right at some point, but a lot of bad stuff went south. Um, However, with this today is the day is the first release of the idea of this episodic game, right? Where they're going, buy the whole game right now, but we're not done developing it. And again, for the time, this was a crazy fucking idea, right? But they were able to use the data that they gathered from players' decisions, right? Being able to they're uploading those decisions, all the paths that we're taking, and they were using that to help shape the story along the way as it was. Um, when you work with IP, when you make games based on existing IP, it can be a real shitty grab bag sometimes, isn't it? It could just be like either the greatest thing that ever happened, or it could be the worst thing you've ever seen this week. And you're like, you know what? I never want to come back to this restaurant. But this game touched so many people, like, because you're playing as Lee, and Lee is, you're like, oh, he's a good guy. He's a convicted murderer, right? Like, very early. Again, before I get hit with the spoilers, it's been a while. Okay, it's been like, give me a break. But no, like, very early on, you learn that no, he was in jail when the outbreak started, convicted for murdering his. I can't remember if he just murdered his wife's, the boyfriend, or if he killed them both. It's been a hot minute, but it's like he was just a regular guy, but it was one of those real crimes of passion type things. And then of course, as he's just wandering around trying to see what the hell is going on, he meets Clementine, the last of her family, and the whole narrative is about this man really kind of finding his redemption by keeping this small girl safe during this this utter catastrophe. They won a couple of awards, I want to say, over this game, kind of like how Christopher Priest, or am I saying that right? It's Christopher Priest for Kratos, right?
Christopher Judge.
Judge, thank you. I don't know why I was saying Priest, but yes, Christopher
Sorry,
Judge.
you mean Tilk from Stargate SG-1? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, correct. Right, like how they were catching awards. No, these guys knocked it out of the park. And just for a little personal trivia, one of the young men, he was 16 years old at the time that I met him, that I was playing Star Wars Galaxies with him in 2003. He worked on this game. He worked on all the Telltale games. And, for my wife and I, watching him go from being a high schooler and being in our guild in Star Wars Galaxies to becoming an animator and working on this to going and working at Pixar and all that. No, we're so, so proud of him. He's like, most of the stuff that you see, like, that's not preset, conversations and things like that. He's like, no, that's me. He's like, it takes a long time. We're like, we're so fucking proud of you, man. But no, it's a game that just really broke the mold in a lot of ways. God, so many great memes were born out of this format from Telltale. So and so will remember that, right? Like, we're like, oh boy, I did some shit I don't know what I did. Was it good, bad? We don't know. But I've just always thought that this was a fantastic series, and I kind of want to go back and play it again, since it got a PS4 port and all that complete, all in one. And they did continue the story with Clementine as she grows up over the course of the games. So it's quite a trip. It's something else. What experiences did you guys have with this?
I honestly did not have much experience. I didn't sit down and really touch anything Walking Dead, largely because outside of, well, I was one of those people that during the era of stuff like The Walking Dead, and of course going back to Dead Island, Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood, stuff like that, I very much had that sort of zombie fatigue. It's like, okay, it's another zombie game. I know it's popular, but just not gonna touch it. Like, literally the last thing zombie related that I played was Dead Rising, and after that, I was good.
Yeah, I was good. Nope, don't need anything else. You just need that tricycle and Gone Guru, and everything's great and good, right? No, it was a real different vibe. It was a different kind of time, right? In this same kind of time period, we got Dragon's Dogma coming out.
That too.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken is coming out. Like there's a lot of. It was a weird little minute. Like the Vita was out. It's almost like the game industry hit its teenage years and it was trying to find itself, and its voice was cracking, and it had fucked up acne, and right, it had to get the Stridex pads, and it was all really weird. But you're like, I can see magic things happening here. The choices that you make in Walking Dead felt like they were actually impactful, unlike all these other games. Oh, your choices matter. No, choices you made really did actually matter in Walking Dead. You were still going to get, generally speaking, funneled into some key directions, but they didn't Mass Effect 3 you on this one, right? It was just a question of how bad is this going to look by the time you get to the end of the road, really. And of course, one of the things that they did is that they had characters cross over from the TV show, right? When a character wasn't on screen or was MIA or whatever at some point, they might have been over in the game doing something. It was a really interesting way of going about doing it.
Great cross
It was
promotion.
You're right. It was a great way to tie those two things together and sell those things, and then to have it narratively be this as strong as it was. No, like if you were to go digging into the Internet Archive, no, you're going to hear tons of people talking about how they were weeping by the time the game was over, right? Because it was a type of story that nobody was showing. Very much so like what's going on with Pragmata right now, and how The Last of Us, seeing Joel doing everything that he did in there. It was a very different story than people were used to seeing, so it was kind of nice to see everyone just go, that was just such an impactful story and so great. I have a secondary game that I wanted to mention on there just because it kind of ties back into what we were talking about, but Double Dragon being the GOAT. But it was on this same day today that River City Ransom is going to come out on the Famicom, right? We're right back on that Kunio joint. And again, it's a standard bearer. What a standard bearer title. From going from, hey, let's just go from left to right, beating ass along the way, to, wait a minute, what if we had persistence? What if the whole town is your playground, right? And you need to figure out how you're going to go about doing this. It created an evolution of a genre, right? To go from, just as an example, it's like, okay, we've got space invaders, but what if you go and invade their space? What if you leave that space instead of just that? What if they can be more? Or, for me, it's like Morrowind. A lot of people are going to hate that opinion, and it's perfectly okay to hate that opinion. But for me, that's what made first person palpable. I was like, isn't there more we can do in first person besides shooting? Right? And Morrowind's like, well, what if we just do all that in first person? And Hexen as well, and Heretic did that. We can do more than just that. I was hoping he was going to pull that up. I really was. I was like, I hope he brings that one up. But no, River City Ransom really, really drove all of that stuff into, you can do more with the brawl than just the brawl. And we couldn't have Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. We couldn't have Scott Pilgrim EX, right? We couldn't have Absalom, right? We couldn't have Towerborn, right? We couldn't have Dragon's Crown. It all comes back to Kunio-kun and the things that they were doing with this that were just completely left field for people. It gave people, it elevated their thoughts, right? It put eyes on the inside like Bloodborne,
Yep.
right? And I'm just always going to be grateful for them to doing that. But in order to be a hater, they can kiss my ass with them long ass passwords on the NES, because that, woo, man, when you look at that, them passwords are so crazy looking. It looks like you cussing in Qbert language. Okay.
No, trying to put in some of those passwords, I
how dare
did start cursing in Qbert language.
Well, luckily you didn't have to put in those passwords using your flip phone, where you had to press the button 4 times to get to one letter. Oh yeah. A couple people just aged in chat. What that made me think of when you were talking about like the crossover and how well that The Walking Dead did it. The first thing I think of is those wildly ambitious games that came out in like the 20 teens, like Defiance and Falling Skies. That had like the straight up, it was tied to the TV show and what happened in the games community translated to the story in the TV. Like that was a really cool idea of just like this multimedia franchise that's interactable almost. But yeah, Walking Dead just did the crossover better.
Yeah, a lot of those things just don't pan out, but I appreciate the attempts to do something different. You know, it's like, you fucked this up, but you know what? Come back, try this again. You got an idea here. Like, run with it.
Well, guys, that was this week in gaming history, Memory Card Chronicles. That little jingle just reminded me to share our Contra image later. So, but yes, Ace, tell us about the new merch drop that we got.
Yes. So, real quick, I need everybody to check out the newest drop in the Gamer Quotient merch store. This time, it's the Gamer Quotient Gamer Hoodie. And right now, it's listed at $39.50. So, this thing is, the price is definitely something that's going to match the quality. And this thing is made for anybody who lives this gaming lifestyle for real. It's got that bold gamer graphic. I think that was the one that we showed off not last week, but the week before, or was it last week?
I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but it's got that bold gamer graphic that we showed off a couple of weeks back. It's got the official Gamer Quotient branding, and of course, the question that says it all. You know the one. What's your Gamer Quotient? This right here is the kind of hoodie that you throw on for the stream, you throw on for game night, for conventions, or just you want people to know exactly what kind of time you're on. It's a heavyweight hoodie with I think it was like a 65-35 ring spun cotton and polyester blend. So, it's stretchy, it's durable, and it also comes, of course, in unisex sizing. All the sizes on the store page currently go from small to 3XL, but it does run a little bit on the small side. So do yourself a favor, grab one size up for the fit that you really want. Or, if you do want to go for more of the oversized look, then, crank the volume up to 11 if you want to. But just do yourself a favor. Don't sleep. Stay warm, stand out, rep the mindset. Grab the Gamer Quotient hoodie from the merch store today. And y'all know the link by now, but if you don't, I'll tell it to you one more time. That's gamerquotient-shop.fourthwall.com. Give it a look. And back to you, Nick.
There you go. Back.
Man, this is happening too much.
All right. Time for some news with Nicholas over here with some quick bites.
All right, everyone. Quick Bites and Rumor Mill is the Gaming Academy's rapid-fire roundup of the biggest stories, updates, and whispers in the gaming world from this last week. Because an informed gamer can actually understand what is happening in the industry around us, or at least tell us why Xbox be Xboxing, right? Xbox is actually ripping up the script and moving forward with some changes that were part of the industry rumor mill the last couple weeks. Let's jump off the quick bites this week with what is happening over at Studio D. First up, Xbox CEO Ashley Sharma has announced on Xbox Wire and social media that future Call of Duty games will not be added to Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass at launch. Now, they will join those passes during the following holiday season, she clarified, so roughly a year later, while existing COD titles already in the library will continue to be available. However, that isn't the end of what Asha was sharing today. Game Pass Ultimate is getting a price drop effective immediately, going down to $22.99, down from $29. PC Game Pass is also actually dropping, which is awesome for me because I thought that was a really good value. Now that's going to be sitting at $13.99 a month. I don't know about you guys, but I know some people, myself included, would make that trade. No COD day one, but better prices on Game Pass. We can debate that in chat. In her blog post, the new CEO called out that, quote, while there isn't a single model that's best for everyone, this change responds to a lot of feedback we've gotten so far. We will continue to listen and learn. Not done with Xbox with during Quick Bytes, though. The last tidbits I have on this topic are, first up, Jason Reynolds, the current VP at Xbox, has clarified that Project Helix, that next-gen code name for Xbox's next console, will be available as a first-party console, as opposed to being a machine that is basically a third-party device like the Asus ROG Ally, for example. Lastly, ID at Xbox has its next showcase scheduled for live stream on April 23rd at 10 a.m. PST, and will showcase titles including Aphelion and Solo Leveling to Rise Overdrive, among others. So, panelists, quick thoughts before we get further into the news. What do you think about the price changes and COD not being available day one?
That actually does. I mean, even though I don't have any skin in the game as far as Call of Duty, but I feel like while Call of Duty being free on Game Pass day one is a lot of the reason why folks had stuck with it, the price drop, the immediate price drop, that does sound like it'd be a pretty solid trade, because I mean, hell, I can think of at least one or two regulars on my stream that that have gotten a lot of mileage out of Xbox Game Pass. So seeing the price actually come down, and from the look of it, it's not that they're being pushed into a degraded discount tier so much as just, okay, we're losing one staple from the usual offerings, but we're still getting a price drop. So hopefully that'll actually, open up more avenues for the service to actually be improved.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a gate for some people to come in. It's still, obviously it's not a one size fit all kind of thing. The fact that prices went up, we were discussing this over the last 6 months, I want to say, about hey, this is just not worth it anymore.
Yeah.
So that kind of reaction to all the changes happening at Xbox with Phil Spencer out, Sarah Bond out, all those marketing changes that they made being completely swapped back, some people can look at this and be like, okay, they're, the Asha, the new CEO's coming in, putting their money where their mouth is, making the changes that are generally considered to be pro-consumer for now. Oliver, do you have something on your mind?
I do. I think I can summarize my opinion on that price drop as it's something you rarely get to see. But hose up, pimps down. No, we're we got a good one this time. It's wait a minute, we're dropping the price of something. We don't think it's giving you the value, and trading that for Call of Duty. I think the vast majority of people are going to be okay with it. I think they're going to be pretty happy in a time of hyperinflation. Just looking at that, I mean, I've just been doing a lot of price shopping. That's my job, right? Shop around and see what's cheap and what's on the the horizon. It's kind of like looking at that MacBook, and why I brought that up, last week, and I was like, oh, this is $600. I went and looked at RAM for my computer. If I were to try and just get more RAM, it would cost me $1,000 and I'm like, it's not even a thing that does anything. It just sits there, right?
Yeah.
But at least, if I'm I have spent $1,000 and set it down, right? I would poke it with a stick and go, come on, do something. At least with a rinky-dink MacBook, it's hey, this is a whole thing, right? Even the PS5 Pro, which I'm I wouldn't be paying $900 for that, but at least it does something, right? But the RAM is just, you're what are you doing? So
yeah,
them doing
that sticker shock is something else. Literally today when I went to go pick up this mic, I'm looking at the RAM that I have in my current rig that I bought 32 gigs for $120, a couple years ago. That same set of RAM is $700 now at Best Buy. It's
yep.
I can feel my wallet shriveling. Oh God.
I did the same thing.
That's not the only thing with those prices.
Nope.
Last year, I spent $120. I was like, that seems fair. And just boom, I'm like, it's $1,000 for that? What are y'all doing? That's nuts. So when everyone is hiking up prices, when a price is coming down, I think it's important that we take the time to celebrate that, and them recognizing that there's a deficiency in their system. It is so rare for these companies to admit we're not doing this right?
Instead of
We're
just
gonna
doubling
adjust
down.
this.
Double
Right,
down.
exactly.
Double down.
So
Yeah,
good
small
job.
clap. Golf clap from Oliver, and honestly, that's saying something after the haterade we've had for 2 weeks.
Hey.
So, I mean, take your win here, Xbox. Mark that off the calendar. You're good to go. I mean, obviously, like the biggest thing that I first think of is look at the last 2 Call of Duty releases, the last 2 Black Ops. Like, I doubt people were gonna want to have Game Pass being more for those kind of titles. Like if it was one of the big, really good Call of Duties, like if we got another thing that blows up the industry like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare did, like people would absolutely be paying money for that. But after 2 installments, I can see why people are like, yeah, this isn't worth the price. And clearly it wasn't when Microsoft was losing so much money by having those games on the service instead. Anyway, we'll move on with that. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your input, chat. I see you up there. The 2026 BAFTA Game Awards were just held last week, and on April 17th, you can see the full list of winners online. But special shout out to major category winners: Expedition 33 for Best Game, Blueprints for Game Design, Arc Raiders for Multiplayer, Dispatch for Animation, Ghost of Yote for Music, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for Narrative. So a lot more winners too, but shout out to those winners for the BAFTA Awards. Insider Gaming has reported that Ubisoft has canceled its in-development title, Altera. Staff were informed and sent home for the day this morning, and while no layoffs were announced, everything is still unclear about what's going to happen next. This was their social sim game that was inspired by Animal Crossing. It was first reported about back in like 2024. This one maybe doesn't sting as much as some of their other recent restructuring casualties, like the Sands of Time remake, for better or worse, or the closure of Red Storm Entertainment, but it's still slimming down, continuing at Ubisoft. On the flip side for Ubisoft, though, is the leak of one of the worst kept secrets in the gaming rumor mill lately, the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced project. After leaks hit the internet, it is now confirmed that the world will get to see a reveal showcase for the game on April 23rd at 6 p.m. For a lot of fans, this game is like one of the peaks in the Assassin's Creed franchise library. So details obviously are already flooding my feed. What has been shared and leaked already is that Resynced is launching, spoiler alert, by the way, go ahead and put on some earmuffs or mute really quick if you don't want to hear it, July 9th at 2026. July 9th, 2026. Expect some changes. Apparently, there's going to be modern changes to the Animus parts of the game, reworks to the combat system. There's going to be no DLC or multiplayer inclusion, which is what the rumors are saying. This is all stuff leaking from basically the deck of the full presentation just being leaked online already. The usual slew of graphical updates and multiple collector's editions that'll be shown off during the presentation. So expect your wallet to cry a little more, Ace. That you will be getting some more Assassin's Creed statues. Switch to exclusive Splatoon Raiders, a spin-off title that is actually a single-player experience, now has a release date of July 23rd. Originally linked through an ESRB rating, it is now confirmed that Alien Rogue Incursion for the Switch 2 exists, and Part 1 is actually available now. They just released it. It is planned to be a 2-part saga, so Switch fans unite for some Alien goodness. From the Xbox first look last week, we finally got eyes on Metro 2039, the next game in the Metro series. 4A Games and Deep Silver have set the release date for that game for this winter, and the trailer is available online if you want to check it out. If you're still playing Phasmophobia, I know that there's a few people on my friends list that still are diehard fans of them. The game's first collaboration has actually been confirmed finally. Alan Wake is coming to the title as a free event on May 12th, 2026. Remedy has actually said they're huge fans of Phasmo, so it's really cool to see a little crossover project between the teams. Via an update on its website, THQ Nordic has revealed that there are 7 unannounced projects, all of which are listed as coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Nothing else has been shared about these projects, so your guess is as good as mine or anyone else's online. Maybe we should look at what IPs they own and start throwing out a little bit of wish list. It's literally a little card with a question mark. So, like I said, guess away. In addition to those 7, though, the company shared it was bringing several new games re-releases to both Switch consoles, including Epic Mickey, and both Destroy All Humans titles. So fans of those games are going to get to play it on a new updated console. Bandai Namco is also in the release game this week, everyone, officially announcing Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, which is aiming for a 2027 release window. You can see the first trailer on YouTube now, but one cool note to share is that the game will feature original work from Akira Toriyama, which he completed before he passed away in 2024. So it's cool that they're going to be able to bring some of that in. I love celebrating wins for gaming fans, so let's talk some sales figures really quick. Forza Horizon 6 is already doing well ahead of its May 19th release date, with Alinea Analytics reporting that the game has already crossed 500,000 copies sold on Steam alone, pre-sales. Pragmata has also hit a sales milestone, and just 2 days after its launch, already passing 1 million copies sold, as well as now being one of Capcom's all-time top-rated Steam games ever. Open world pirate survival game Windrose is solidly in the top 10 for daily active users already on Steam since its launch on the 14th, and it also just surpassed 1 million copies sold. Right after our pod last week, in fact, Pearl Abyss also announced that Crimson Desert has sold 5 million copies, which is just under a month since its release. With our ups comes our downs. Iron Galaxy, the devs who co-developed the Spyro Remake trilogy, the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, and did help with launching games like Overwatch and Fallout 76, have announced new redundancies and are downsizing. The company had actually lost 25% of its workforce after 2025 cuts, which they described at the time as, quote, the last resort to kind of keep everyone together. We will see where things go from here, but it kind of shows how hard it is to sustain these teams with all the changes to the gaming landscape in the last couple of years. A new email from Sony Interactive Entertainment has revealed that new age verification requirements are coming to the PlayStation user base. Like Discord and Roblox recently, PlayStation is adding these age verifications, but it's specifically locking communication features behind that requirement. No data has been provided yet, but just something to be aware of as that comes across. While I'm talking about Sony, let me pull up a screen really quick for you. Let's cover the news that's been kind of doing the whirlwind this last day or so. The news about former SIE worldwide president and influential legend Shuhei Yoshida. The guy defined the PS4 era of success that the company had with him at the helm. If anything, for me, by the infamous sharing your used games with your friends video that was just clowning on Xbox One's used game missteps, if you remember that one. Yoshida-san was at the 2026 Australian Games Festival Alt Games and spoke about his time at the company, including helping Sony Santa Monica make God of War, helping Naughty Dog make Uncharted and Last of Us, and Sucker Punch make Ghost of Tsushima, which was actually his last title he worked on as president of Worldwide Studios. One of the interesting quotes that you saw here, what was making the news, was after talking about those things he was able to do at being in charge there at SIE Worldwide, was back. But in 2019, after 11 years of leading the first party development, I was fired from the role. Quote, Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from first party because I didn't listen to him, he said jovially, prompting laughter from the audience. He asked to do some ridiculous things, and I said no. So this is what's been kind of blowing up lately. I don't know if you guys saw this news. Did you see this kind of hit the news sites? See a lot of head shakes there. How about you, chat? Did you hear this?
Do this something. No.
Yeah, do this thing. Nah, dog, that ain't me. So what this boils down to is the notorious changes that PlayStation Studios has kind of gone under when they were under Jim Ryan's stewardship, the Drive for Life service. We don't know what ridiculous things were asked of him, but it did cause Yoshida-san to be moved to PlayStation's indie division before he finally did leave in 2025. The reason, again, this is all over these gaming news channels and sites is because it is a glaringly obvious example of what this console generation is like for Sony and why it feels lost, at least in my opinion. we've all seen this happen through projects like Concord, canceled live service titles like the God of War Bluepoint project,
Yep.
closed studios and restructurings, the decisions driving Bungie's games, and most recently the Horizon Hunter. Was it Hunters Gathering Hunters? I think it's named Hunters Gathering. Got it backwards. Yeah, the new Horizon project announcement and the response to that people have had. I mean, people just are not loving this direction. Obviously, Jim Ryan is no longer with the company, but the effects of his decisions and his directions are still felt to this day. I mean, you guys, I know we've talked about Shuhei a few times in the past. Do you have any like strong opinions on this or any insights yourself?
I have two things. I'm gonna just get this out here right now. So there was another clip on that. On that article where it's mentioned that Wild Arms creator Akifumi Kaneko had been rejected by Sony multiple times in trying to get a publisher for the spiritual successor that he's working on, Armed Fantasia. You've seen me ranting and raving about this project and also Project Pennyblood, which is the spiritual successor to Shadow Hearts. Both of these games, from what has been shown, look absolutely phenomenal. And it's like, why aren't they getting a publisher? And then I come to find out that, Kaneko-san tried to pitch Armed Fantasia to Sony, and he had gotten rejected multiple times. Which leads to my second point. The most use to society that Jim Ryan has had since he first hit fucking Sony.
Uh-oh, here he goes.
Well, I'll just say this. He would be more useful if he were to deep throat a freshly boiled hot dog, because at the very least, his screams would provide entertainment. Back to you, Nick.
Don't send it back to me after that comment. The opinions of said panelist are his own and do not reflect the overall opinions of the crew. Even
He's like,
some
don't do
people
that.
do agree with him. I'm sure something will be coming along here in a moment. Oliver, you had something to say.
Oh, I was just going to say, you were going to say, don't put that evil on me. He's like,
I'm
no.
sorry, I worked in the corporate thing, and I'm expecting to hopefully one day have an industry job again. So
He's
I'm
like,
not
I'm
going
trying
to
to get
burn
back.
them bridges because Ace is
Bingo.
getting a little lippy.
Mm-hmm. Here's all I can really say about him. I don't think I ever fully understood that man. I'm not talking about Jim Ryan. I just remember we damn near didn't get Demon Souls because he played it and he did not understand it at all. He didn't. And, thank God Atlas was like, a lot of people seem to be important in this game. Can we publish it? And they were like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Right. But, I consider him a very middle of the road as far as executives go. Right. Like, he understood the importance of indies. And that's really, really, really good. I'm really curious. And, obviously he was trying to save his own relationship with that. I think that's a really important thing because he didn't say what they were disagreeing about. Right. And I did see a really interesting note in the expanded comment about that with him saying, he and Jim Ryan had been at Sony as young men. Right. And so he was like, it's really hard to be friends with your boss. Right, when they were nobodies, and then have him be in charge, and that kind of friendship and friction can definitely get in the way of that. So I just thought it was really interesting how so many people are so quick to jump to his side, but it's a thing that always bothers me when I see developer comments or quotes and things like that, and we never get a chance to hear what the other person has to say. You know what I mean? I'm just like, whether you like Jim Ryan or not, there were reasons that decisions got made. This kind of comes back to the Bobby Kotick thing, right? Like, that was so long ago. Many of our viewers are actually, small children when the Brutal Legend and the Bobby Kotick thing went down, and then next thing you know, Bobby Kotick's in Moneyball. You're like, what is he doing in a fucking movie? And right, and just looking at it, and he's trying to make the most pragmatic decisions. but this is also that BMA, or God, I can't find my words, but this is the same thing. You know, those managerial types making those kinds of decisions, right? And then when people actually gave Bobby Kotick a chance to talk, he's like, this game's not going anywhere. It's not doing what it needs to do. They're not meeting milestones. They're right. Like once he had a chance to explain his decisions, then people kind of eased the fuck off, right? It's like, oh, right. But when you're in management, when you're in an executive position, sometimes you do not have the luxury, right? You don't get the privilege of explaining yourself to anyone, because that could literally compromise your company, it could compromise your job, right? There's a lot of things like that. So I just thought it was interesting. He asked me to do things and I told him no. And so it's very curious of, right, we're all kind of inferring, oh, he's asking you to do some real dastardly mustache twirling shit. Maybe he just said no because it was just things he didn't agree with, and it's not some like huge weird conspiracy. Just like how I said, he didn't understand Demon Souls. It was very just, he couldn't connect the dots with it. It didn't resonate with him, but clearly it resonated with everyone else, right? So maybe it's just something as simple as that, and it's not some nefarious thing. Because what I've been watching on Twitter is just everyone's like, Jim Ryan is the worst thing that ever happened to Sony and blah 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 blah. I'm like, I don't know about all that, right? Like I don't know,
Right.
but
I think it's
interesting.
almost a little bit of a parallel what you're saying, kind of with what's happening with Astra Sharma coming in and being more the business side and not the obvious gamer that like Phil Spencer was, who had the gamer cred, who had the open gamer account that people could see the games he was playing and how he interacted with the regular consumer base. Right.
Right.
With this, Jim Ryan was a businessman first and foremost. Right. But the flip of that conversation is everything we've talked about with what's going wrong in the industry right now and the trend that seems to be destroying livelihoods, closing studios, seeing talented teams be put on projects that don't make sense for their skill set with the live service push, which was very pointedly always a Jim Ryan thing. He was very clear about that's what he wanted to do. That's what his direction was. And Shuhei had come out and literally said last year, I didn't agree with the push for live service. I would have pushed back against it if I were still in charge. Obviously, he wasn't in charge. It wasn't his choice. It is what it is. But it's just one of those things that I think a lot of people are pointing at this, what is generally considered to be negative across the industry, as that was this person's drive. The same reason we're looking at Phil Spencer was the president of Xbox, right? He would have signed off on any marketing ideas that Sarah Bond had. It wasn't Sarah Bond's fault. Everything is an Xbox thing. It was his decision as well. It didn't work out, so they have to pivot. It's whether or not they pivot in a way that brings that back or is successful. And we'll see what happens with Sony now as they're trying to like figure out what they're doing from here. Like James, I know you've got some opinions on the live service stuff. We haven't heard from you in a hot minute. Do you have any takes on this one?
I'm just taking in what you're saying, what Oliver's saying, and I think it's like it doesn't do us any it doesn't do the community a service to start pointing the finger. It's just like I said, we have to move forward from this. Vote with your wallet, make yourself heard. Do focus on what you can control, right? And a lot of the like what Oliver was saying is like all this Jim Ryan. It's an emotional response to the crumbling market that we're in right now. They need somebody to blame, and immediately they go, "Oh, that's him. It's his fault." That's exactly what's just happening right now. But there's like what you said. I agree with you that there's so many moving parts to this machine, and sometimes you have to commit to it. Otherwise, it can look worse for you and the company. Nothing worse than admitting you made a mistake. So you just keep trucking forward until you hit something good. And that's my 2 cents on that.
And live service has always been just a straight up gamble. If you hit it big, you hit it big, right? But there's just so many failures or so many things that just don't work out. So a company as big as that is going to be able to take that many more risks with that much capital behind it. That's the same thing I've been saying about, or people have been saying about, not just me, about Microsoft for years. When they were buying all those studios, it's like they have the funds to do it. They have that Microsoft checkbook to do it. They can take these risks. It's whether or not it comes to fruition. And clearly for a lot of those teams, it didn't, or we haven't heard from them since. Anyway, let's close up with the rumor mill and then throw it back to someone else, not just me talking tonight, right? So last little bit, 2 rumor mill things for you. As always, take these as a grain of salt. They're just here for us to have a little bit of discussion, maybe have a little laugh, or, maybe learn a little something that could be coming down the line. On an April 14th episode of the Broken Silicon podcast, known YouTube insider Moore's Law is Dead dived into leaked documents concerning the in-development PlayStation 6. According to what was shared, the documents cover potential leaks of the PS6 portable and backwards compatibility with PS5 and PS4 games. As the insider says, quote, it directly shows Canis, which is the PS6 codename, backwards compatibility support. Another part of this doc, it literally says back compat PS4, PS5, just says it right there. Also, one special note with these leaked documents, the podcast did dive in a little bit to the fact that this is not going to be done, this backwards compatibility will not be done via software emulation, but instead it's going to be embedded directly in the technical structure of the new machine itself. So it's kind of a cool news for people who were afraid about emulation and that kind of thing. It's going to be directly in there. Kind of reminds me a little bit of what happened with like the PlayStation 3 launch with its 60 gig, just having that built in.
Yeah.
So kind of cool. Take it as a grain of salt, but until somebody says something official, this is just, a voice on the wind, but potentially some good news for people, fans of physical media. GQ, I know you got some PS4, some PS5 games. Being able to play them on a new PS6 might be pretty cool. Via X Cancel and user Vol Skimmer, Street Fighter 6's Year 4 DLC may have just been leaked. That being said, even this user pointed out to take this one as a grain of salt too, as, quote, Capcom tends to put out fake information as a distraction, end quote. So while we will have to wait until something is official, it looks like the DLC could feature Vega, Hagar, Gouken, and Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. The info came from the same person who had leaked information ahead of time saying that Terry, Elena, and Bison were coming to the Street Fighter 6. So what do you guys think of that?
That is a list, boy. That's awesome.
That just sounds fun.
Yep.
Look, and I said this when Jagos mentioned it in my chat. Look, Tifa's nice and all. I mean, we've been hoping to
Tekken fans in shambles.
Exactly. But Hagar finally being in a proper Street Fighter after Guy and Cody had their rounds
for literally decades now.
I am here for it. Please let me be able to step up and whack Bison with a lead pipe. Oh,
I'm happy because Gouken's back. That was my dude in 4. So.
All right, guys, that's the news and rumor for this week. Thank you for throwing down with some extra stuff in chat. Appreciate you putting it in.
It was a much more positive week overall, I'd say.
Yeah, a lot less layoffs. There were still some. We can't, break the trend too much, but definitely like more happier news, like sales goals. It's always cool to hear when like a milestone gets passed by a game that you don't really expect it to, or it goes really quickly. We're like, oh yeah, that game's good, or it's a small team, or even if it's a bigger game or a bigger team, the fact that it sells quick, you're like, oh yeah, people be buying,
right?
Which again, like voting with your wallet, you may not like those games, but they are selling. I don't know if I'm ever going to play Windrose, but the fact that it's already selling that well, it's like, there we go.
I actually feel like it's kind of a neat little coincidence that Windrose, just hit the market when it did, especially with all the rumors and everything going around about Ubisoft's worst kept secret.
Right.
It's like, oh, we sailing the high seas again. Sounds good to me.
Oh, we got Skull and Bones at home.
Don't worry, I've been playing it, man. Listen, I done fought the final boss of Windrose, and it's called a fucking boar. I was getting beat up. I see great potential in that game. Great potential. But I feel like it's strong. It's kind of one of those things where you can just feel it naturally in the structure of the game. I'm like, no, this is way more fun if you got 2-3 homies with you acting a damn fool. Because those boars will beat the dog shit out of you. Mm-hmm. It's some of the most beautiful water I've ever seen. But I'm taking a step back from it because, again, thank God for early access. People are like, you're making us pay to beta test. But actually, I'm looking at it, I'm going, it's good to know that this isn't finished and you're telling me you're still working on it. So I'm not forming a final impression either. I liked what I saw, but that shit made my computer crash. And I was like, I don't have a slouch machine. Like, no, I can run Wilds just fine. And this thing made my computer unbearably fucking hot. I was like, whoa, what is happening here? I said,
Why
you
is
know
there
what?
steam
I'm gonna
coming
come
out of
back.
its ears?
I said, I'll revisit this in a few patches. Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not too excited about summer hitting in some of these games, using up what RAM we have on our GPUs that are in our system still. Like, it's going to be hot.
right, it's the hottest summer. It's hot on the block, boy. I could have cooked a fucking egg on my PC. I was like, oh, okay, let's just not do that.
Get ready
So
to start running them box fans, boys.
one of the best things about the Watchdog this week is a bunch of games we've been talking about are the games that are on sale. Completely coincidentally, like even the ones that just came up within our conversation that weren't, directly tied into what we already had written. So I think you guys are going to love these sales. I think you're going to love them.
Sounds like a good segue to the next segment. The Watchdog. Where's your button? There it is. Oh, never mind. There you go. Did you guys hear that?
I was waiting for it. No, I can't hear it.
No, nothing. Okay.
Everybody else
Oh,
hear the
you're
part? Okay, so here's what I've got for this week. Right? Let's thin out that intro a little bit because there's so many. But as the Watchdog, I'm always trying to keep an eye out for you on great prices on games, on accessories, anything that catches my eye that just a little bit cheaper than usual. This week, here's what I found. And let me tell you, boys, I found Marlin sales here. These are colossal. We're talking straight up bundles for criminal prices for some reason. So let's start off with the Xbox Series, right? Right out the gate, the Metro Saga bundle. This includes Metro 2033 Rideau, Metro Last Light Rideau, and Metro Exodus Gold Edition, and all the DLC. $6. Boom, just
what?
like that. The entirety of Metro, the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle, everything, $6 damn. Do you know how much a fucking cheeseburger costs?
Hey,
From Wendy's.
If you want to get caught up on it,
Don't be dropping Wendy's right now, dude. Like, it's not even worth the money that it is.
It's like, man. So that's what you're able to get on the Xbox. So snatch that up. And then Dead Island is in the middle of celebrating their little bit of anniversary. So across multiple platforms, you're going to see Dead Island sales. On the Xbox, the Dead Island Series bundle. This includes Dead Island Riptide, Dead Island 2, all the definitive and or ultimate editions of those games, $17.99. So you can go all the way to the beginning and find out what all the fuss was and come all the way up to the present and enjoy Hell A for under 20, right? Not bad. This one, coming up for the PS4 and the PS5, I just thought this is super, super, super interesting because I just started playing Hades 2. Like, I just totally waited for it to make its port to the PS5. Good opportunity for people to go and check out the first Hades. I can easily tell you, I am not a fan of Supergiant games, but they knocked it right the fuck out of the park with the Hades games. They're fun. They are truly unique roguelikes that even losing is a form of true progress that you can actively see. And you can get that Hades for $6.24 right now. On top of that, as I said, Dead Island 2, the ultimate version with all the DLC, season pass, the works, $6.99.
Yeah, because I hope we sold someone on it with all the great things we said about it.
Right? Like, it's like, even if you're like, it kind of had some weird shit going, it's like, oh, $7, you've played worse. Like, that's for sure. You've played worse for $7. I think we all have it at some point in our lives.
Too, after calling out that Wendy's at the beginning.
Yeah. Now we've got just a bona fide classic, Final Fantasy X and X-2 remastered, clean $10, right? So you're getting 2 games for $5, right? That's real nice. You might like 10 better, or you might like X-2 better, but either way, you're making out like a bandit. Then we've got Castlevania Requiem, which includes Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, and that's $6. Moving on to PC/Steam. Dead Island, once again, but only the base game, $5, right?
Huh.
And then we've got I believe, as far as I know, there's a smaller publisher out there, Alawar, right? And they make some odd games. You don't hear about them very often, but when they do, almost every game that they've put out has intrigued me. One of them, before I get to the biggest deal I've put out here yet, before we get to the biggest deal, just after, let's see, I think I want to say I played it 3 years ago, but one of the most interesting games they made is called They Always Run, and you play a bounty hunter who has 3 arms, and he's a mutant, right? So he has a third arm growing out of his back. This means that you will fight people with 3 swords at a time, or you will pull out 3 guns. And it's side scrolling, it's platforming, it's combo heavy. The animations are beautiful. It's one of those games that just completely gets looked over, like kind of like how a lot of people just looked over Hunt Down, for example. It's
Oh.
it's really good, and on Steam it's $1.50. This is not the best sale I am going to find for you. This is right now the cream of the crop, best money spent. The same publisher, Alawar, they're in the middle of their anniversary. I think they've been doing stuff for publishing since '99. I think I saw.
Oh, so they've been in it a minute.
They've been in it for a while, but they're just kind of a smaller player. They kind of have their own take on. If you liked games like Papers, Please, you're gonna like the Beholder series, where you're basically the apartment manager or the landlord, right, in a hyper fascistic state, and you are spying on your neighbors and seeing what kind of shit they're up to and reporting them to the authorities and whatnot.
But Oliver, what
And-
if I like playing games to escape reality?
Oh no, it's just a different kind of reality. There's layers.
Sorry,
But
my reality may not be the same as other people's.
so their original, I think they've made 4 Beholder games. I'm not 100% on that, but this one I haven't gotten a chance to play it. But fuck, for this price, I'm willing to pay. This is the lowest price I've ever seen on a game that is known. 83 fucking cents on Steam. 83 cents. Look, you can't go buy a decent regular pack of bubblegum for 83 fucking cents, right? You're gonna get some off-brand shit. You ain't getting the Double Mint Twins. Like, no.
You're getting an old pack of Fruit Stripe.
Exactly. Yes. That's just gonna run out of flavor in 3 seconds. It'll just hurt you. We're so old. I remember when Fruit Stripe gum came out to market. That fucking hurts me in several ways. But no, Beholder is 83 damn cents. So I may not have hit everything under $10 this week, but if you were to look at things kind of in the aggregate, break things down on a per price basis, there's value to be found all over the board. Even though people just ended their spring sales, like, kind of all over the place. They're bringing it back around in another way. Like, everyone's just kind of stacking sales. I think it's probably because they're getting ready for Summer Game Fest and stuff. But here's your Nintendo Switch games. Hogwarts Legacy. I don't care about Harry Potter, but boy, do I know a lot of people who care about Harry Potter. And on the Nintendo Switch, you can get Hogwarts Legacy for $8.99. I don't care about Dead Cells, but a lot of people really care about Dead Cells, and especially getting that crossover with Return to Castlevania. You can get that for $6.99 on the Switch. Now, a game on the Switch that I absolutely played, and I can tell you right now, if you're anyone that has a niece or a nephew, or you got young kids and you're trying to find a video game that you know that you can play with your kids, and it's fun and it's just absolutely charming, The Plucky Squire, that was a Gotti pick for me. It's incredible, where you are a storybook character and you literally jump out of the book and you are running around in the physical world trying to save the kid that owns that book, right? Because the bad guy is trying to get out of the book. And so you will frequently move in and out of the book and learn new powers, almost in a Legend of Zelda style, right?
Hmm.
Where you go from 3D to being a 2D character on paper, and you have to follow the rules of that universe that you're in at that time. So how he performs outside of the book as a fully realized 3D character is completely different. It is just charmingly sweet. It's a very, very adorable game, and you can grab that on the Nintendo Switch for $9.99. I can't recommend that one enough. So if you haven't had an opportunity to play any of these games, this is the time. Get in there. There's a couple of bangers in there. And that's it. That's it for the Watchdog this week. That's a better bark. There we go. Like, did someone hear DMX?
If you guys want to review anything Oliver has showed you tonight, the Academy class in our the Watchtower will be there for you to kind of just go back and take a look at what he was talking about. So it's there for you guys right now. I posted it out there. So check that out. Check it out. Check it out. All right. Let's close it down to the last segment of the show, the final boss, kind of piggybacking off the layoffs conversation. This one is called Build Where You Are Valued. So I'll get that going for you guys here. This one is called Build Where You Are Valued because sometimes in life, it'll put you in a space that benefits, maybe not so much where you need to be, but where you should be. So sometimes life will put you in a space that benefits from your talent, but never truly value it. And that can mess with you. I know it messes with me because after a while, if the wrong room keeps overlooking you, underestimating you, or treating you like you're disposable, you can start wondering maybe you were never that important to begin with. Imposter syndrome. But gaming teaches us something different. Look at Hideo Kojima. After everything that happened with Konami, a lot of people could have looked at that situation, just seen a messy ending, but Kojima kept creating. He built Death Stranding. Love it or hate it, the point is bigger than one game. The creator did not stop creating just because the old structure ended. Now we can also look at Bloodstained. Now, for a lot of players, the spirit of Castlevania never really died. Koji Igarashi took what people loved and what still had life in it and built something new. That is one of the clearest examples in gaming of somebody saying, if I cannot build it there anymore, then I will build it somewhere else. And even look at a franchise like Double Dragon, which we're, touching on tonight in Memory Card Chronicles. That game helped define a whole lane. That the industry moved on, trends changed, genres rose and fell, but the DNA of that kind of fun never disappeared. Real ideas survive. Strong foundations survive. Things with conviction find a way to live on. And that's the lesson. Being pushed out is painful. Being overlooked is painful. Losing your place is painful. But pain is not proof that you are finished. Sometimes it is proof that the old structure could no longer hold what you were meant to become. And that lesson is bigger than gaming. Some people stay in the wrong room too long. I have too. A room that tolerates them but does not celebrate them. A room that uses their gifts but does not respect them. A room that benefits from their effort but never truly sees their value. And after a while, that kind of room will make you question yourself. But the truth is, your value does not disappear because somebody else failed to recognize it. That job may cut you. That company might lose vision. And that opportunity might fall apart. The chapter may also close. But creators create, just like here at the Gaming Academy. We're creating for you. We're building something for you because builders build. And passion finds a way. And as tonight's conversations, we are very passionate. So for the final boss tonight, it's not just surviving rejection. It is having the courage to ask yourself, am I trying to force growth in a place that was never built to value what I bring? Because sometimes the next level in life is not proving yourself to the wrong room. Sometimes the next level is leaving it. Build somewhere where your work has meaning. Build somewhere where your voice has weight. Build somewhere where your talent can actually breathe. And if that place does not exist yet, well, then maybe you are supposed to help create it. Because the wrong room can make you doubt your worth. But the right mission around the right people with the right purpose, it will remind you that you were never without value and you were just trying to grow in bad soil. And that tonight is your final boss. So that will be it for me tonight. Want to hear what everybody else is chatting about, gentlemen?
It's a great topic to end on. I mean, heck, let's consider this. The kind of growth that we're actually seeing here at the Academy, that's what Oliver and I were trying to do with our previous show. And, as it just so happened, unfortunately, while we tried to build that environment where our talents and our strengths could grow, it wasn't quite there yet. The soil wasn't as conducive to us growing as we wanted it to be. But then, stepping in here, you reaching out to me to bring me on during the first season, and then, us reaching out to Oliver to, have him join us and, continue barking at everything and everyone that passes by, like, here, buy this, it's cheap. Look, what you've done for us by pulling us over to the Academy is you've literally given us both a chance to get back to, doing our jobs and doing something that we enjoy and giving us that latitude for our skills to evolve and improve.
Good. Appreciate that.
Let me go ahead and follow up on what Ace is saying, because everything that he said is 100% absolutely true, but there's more on top of it, right? And I'm going to be candid for people. See, this is me not being a silly asshole for 4 seconds, so you better start counting them because you ain't getting it forever. No, I literally, one of the first things I said to Ace when you guys invited me to be on here permanently, I said, thank you for getting me my job back. And I fucking cried. I cried because I really, really cared about that podcast. That was so important to me because I knew this was a format that I was made for, right? Where I was supposed to be. And losing that and having to go all the way back down to the bottom with nothing was a really demoralizing blow. It didn't take me out of the game, but boy, it brought me down, right? And then to see that you guys were actually trying to do the thing that Ace and I had been trying to accomplish in the first place, and to get this meeting of minds in one spot, that's been a huge boost for me, like, ever since, right? Like every Tuesday, I'm super excited to get in here and do this and get the yucks and try and figure out something new and to sort this out, and how we sit down and we collaborate together to try and figure out the best way we are trying to take this and make it into a shape. It's not one person pulling, another one pushing, and people running off doing whatever. We're trying to complement each other. And it's something that I highly, highly value in each and every one of you. And I hold you all in high regards for your own unique talents. And I'm not saying that to puff you up. No, I really do mean that. It's been such a treat. It's been a privilege. It's been a blessing to actually get to be a part of this. And for some reason, you guys actually tolerate the absolute fucking buffoonery that comes out of my mouth. But your overall lesson really is so true. Build where you're valued, right? When I get on Twitch, I have a lot of different people that come to my channel, and I've got old guys, I've got guys in their late 40s, in their 50s, right, who come because this is where they chill. I've got other parents that come, that's where they chill. They go, oh, my kid thinks, like, my kid's watching, and if I call out their kid, I'm like, hey, you be good, listen to your mom, right? They're going, kid is like over the moon because they feel like they got noticed by someone important. I'm going, oh, this is important. This is where my value is, right here, doing these things, helping these younger guys, making them feel like they're worth something in a world that is tearing them down left and right. And to just be able to go, hey, you come with me. We're going to go over here and do some badass shit. Watch this. Let's go. Right. That's where you build. My wife has a very similar saying to our final boss for tonight. She has told me since the day we started dating, she said, one of the smartest things you can do is spend your money where you use it. And I was like, what does that mean? It's like, imagine if you had a commute that was 5 hours a day, every single day. Are you going to do it in the world's most uncomfortable car? Or if you're going to be stuck in that car for a 5-hour commute, you can make sure that's a nice, comfy little ride with all the amenities and fixings now, aren't you? Right? You're using it constantly, so that's where you spend it. Build where you're valued, right? Look for where people find value in you, and that's where you should be doing it. Don't burn all your energy up on people who hate you, right? That's not going to change. They're going to continue to hate you, right? Maybe you get lucky and you get someone to go from hating you to tolerating or accepting, or eventually going, wait a minute, I was really just out of line about you completely. Maybe. But if you try to pursue that hard, you're going to come up short, right? Go to where you're valued. Do those things because it will count for something, and it will blossom into something beautiful in time if you let it. And that's my thought.
Nick, got anything to share?
Nothing to add on top of the great things everyone else has said. Just agreeing with the going where you're actually valued. Especially after losing my job at Microsoft, I was at a low because I worked so hard to get into the industry away from retail, and losing that. And obviously, since then, I've seen that it wasn't anything I did wrong. It's just like all these people working in the industry now that are getting hit with redundancies or anything like that. Don't lose your worth.
Yeah, go where you're valued, man. The world's too big to be in one space. That's
translation. Nick was like, I don't like those motherfuckers at all.
No, I understand the business decision of as it was to why my position changed. Like, made sense when I was able to find out why it happened. But when it's in the moment, you don't feel that way. When you get that call, or actually, I remember because I logged in, and this happened so much. I've been reading since, in tech. I signed on for the day. It was a Friday, and I couldn't access my accounts. Like, I couldn't access the social media accounts I was in charge of. I'm like, hey, my passwords aren't working. Let me ask the boss, like, hey, are we having any server issues? It's just kicking my stuff back. Didn't even click for me yet. And she said, let me check it. Let me check on that. Absolutely, I'll get back to you. And the next thing I know is before our morning stand, I'm like, hey, can you jump on the call? I was like, sure. Can do. And it was the first person who joined was someone whose name I didn't recognize and had HR next to their name. And I was like, it's one of these. Got it. It happened real quick. But yeah, no, that was just kind of a shock. And I definitely felt deflated for years, especially because my wife and I moved back up to Bellingham. Because I was a remote worker at the time. That was not how it started. So I lost my footing. I lost my kind of anchor. I lost everything I had worked for the past 5, 6, 7 years. So that really sucked. I miss the people that I worked with and the fun experiences I have. I won't trade that. I hate that I can't always talk about everything that I was able to experience because it was a really cool, honestly cool thing I got to do. But I like to share what I can when I can. But yeah,
for people who can't understand why Nick is like that, see, I'm not bound underneath any of the rules that he is, so I can explain to you what that is. A couple of things that tends to happen in large scale tech like this and many other industries, but he has things like non-disclosure agreements where he can get his ass sued for still talking about things that he's literally hasn't even been there for a while. He has things like non-compete clauses, right? Where if he were to just go, they're like, we're letting you go, and he goes and works somewhere else, he can get in trouble for that, right? There's a lot of legal binding that comes with this stuff, and it gets taken very, very seriously. So when you hear industry people talk, especially, with talking about the stuff that was going on with Jim Ryan. He's saying he asked me to do things that I said no to. They're not being fucking mysterious to be cool. No, there's a lot of legal shit that goes on with this that is very, very real, and the consequences can be devastating to the person who.
People aren't trying to be obtuse about this kind of stuff. It's literally just like, I just need to protect my ass. I already dealt with all this stuff.
Right. And that's why he said what he said when he was like, I have no opinion about that. He really is trying to not burn bridges, and we're going to respect that, right? Yeah. I will be the dumb fuck for the rest of us because I don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm too old for this shit. I'm a father of a 5-year-old lunatic. I don't have the luxury of principles. Not anymore.
Before closing the show, I generated a picture that I think is the future of Gaming Academy. Matter of fact, it's not done yet, but it is it's a vision in my brain that I would love to see happen down the road when and if it does happen. But this image has really struck a chord with me here. This was influenced by Kaneda from Akira. He's wearing our shirt, and he's at Gamer Quotient Academy, basically. So this is the future, guys, of this podcast. It's lots of games and candy bars. So I just generated this, and I was like, wow, that would be really cool one day if we had a flyer like this or image like this floating around the internet, and people are like, I want to go there. That sounds like a pretty cool place, right?
Look, all those textbooks and all that shit, and you can't hire a fucking housemaid.
It's
right?
part
Clean
of
up. Go to school. Go to classes.
And how much more student debt do you expect him to rack up for that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they told him how to code, and he did. But yeah, I was just looking at that. And can anybody take a stab with the kanji?
Gema.
Except the guy that knows Japanese.
Oh, sorry.
Too late.
Guilty.
Yeah, but this goes hard. It just inspired me to be like, that logo of ours, Gamer Quotient, is going to be an LED somewhere, or, plasma gas and eat, sleep, game, repeat. Dude, it just motivates me to move forward and develop the show even more. So if you guys have any ideas and any things that you guys want to see, let us know. And when we're here for you guys, and we're only 1 day a week, but when the show takes off, we'll do more days if it permits. That's all it is. So, but yes, with that said, Ace, take us home, baby.
Can do. And that right there is going to bring class number 73 of the Gaming Academy to a close. As always, thank you to everybody who showed up live, everybody in the chat, everybody catching the replay, and everybody who contributes to support what we're building here at the Academy. Week after week, your presence helps make this more than just a podcast. It makes this a real classroom, a real community, and a real place for gamers to connect. Tonight's class was about more than just industry talk. It was about value. It was about vision. It was about what happens when the people creating the magic are treated like they don't matter. And it was also about something bigger than gaming. That being overlooked doesn't erase your worth. We went from the desk to the history to the headlines to the deals. We'll eventually get back to the tech. And hopefully somewhere in all of that, you found something that stuck with you. Not just something to react to, like I tend to do, but something to carry with you. Because that's, end of the day, that's what we do here. We talk about games, yeah, but we also talk about what games can teach us about life, about purpose, endurance, about knowing when to keep fighting and knowing when it's time to build somewhere your gifts can actually breathe. I want to take the time to thank the faculty for another great class, and I want to thank all of you for continuing to show up here as part of the Academy. Remember, make sure you support the show, follow, subscribe, share the class out, and check out the merch if you want to rep the mindset. Until next time, remember this. The wrong room can make you question your value, but the right mission will remind you who you are. With that said, on behalf of our headmaster, on behalf of our historian, on behalf of our eye in the sky with the news, I am your professor of applied sciences here at the Gaming Academy. Y'all may call me Blazing Ace Nelson. This has been the Gaming Academy, and now, class dismissed.
Thanks, y'all.
We'll see you next time.
Check out the video on Discord.